Most people misunderstand confidence. They think it's something you're born with, a personality trait, a gift, something only naturally charismatic people possess. So they spend years trying to look confident. They speak louder, walk differently, memorize clever lines, pretend they never feel fear. But here's the truth. The people with the strongest confidence aren't pretending to be fearless. They've simply stopped allowing fear to control their decisions. That's a very different thing. Real confidence isn't about always knowing what to do. It's about trusting yourself even when you don't. That's why some people remain calm during rejection, stay composed under pressure, and continue moving forward after failure, while others lose confidence over one setback. The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck. And it certainly isn't perfection. It's the way they think. Today, we're going to explore the real secret behind unshakable confidence. Not the fake confidence built on attention, but the quiet confidence that remains strong even when nobody is watching. Let's begin. Number 1. Confidence is built through evidence. Imagine two men. The first man tells himself every morning, "I'm confident. I'm successful. I'm unstoppable." But he rarely keeps promises to himself. He avoids difficult conversations. He gives up whenever life becomes uncomfortable. Now imagine the second man. He doesn't constantly tell people how confident he is. Instead, he wakes up when he said he would, keeps his word, exercises consistently, learns new skills, faces uncomfortable situations. Little by little, he begins trusting himself. Why? Because confidence isn't built through positive thinking alone. It's built through evidence. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes proof that you can rely on yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of real confidence. Number 2. Stop seeking everyone's approval. One of the fastest ways to destroy confidence is trying to be liked by everyone. Think about how exhausting that is. Changing your opinions depending on who's listening. Pretending to agree when you don't. Apologizing simply to avoid disagreement. Constantly wondering, what do they think of me? When your identity depends on other people's approval, your confidence rises and falls with every opinion. That's an impossible way to live. Confident people understand something different. Not everyone will like them. And that's okay. They're respectful, kind, open-minded. But they don't sacrifice their values just to be accepted. Because confidence grows the moment approval stops becoming your primary goal. Number 3. Your inner voice becomes your reality. Everyone has an inner voice. The question is, what is yours saying? Some people constantly tell themselves, "I'm not good enough. I'll probably fail. Someone else could do this better." Imagine hearing those words every day. Eventually, you start believing them. Now imagine a different inner conversation. "This will be difficult, but I can learn. I've handled hard things before. I'll figure it out." Notice something important. That's not blind optimism. It's self-trust. Your inner voice becomes the lens through which you experience life. If it constantly tears you down, confidence struggles to survive. If it reminds you of your ability to grow, confidence quietly becomes stronger. Number 4. Comfort is the enemy of confidence. Many people think confidence comes first, and action comes second. The opposite is usually true. Action creates confidence. Think about learning to drive. The first time feels terrifying. Your hands shake. You overthink every movement. But after months of practice, driving feels natural. What changed? Not your personality, your experience. The same applies to confidence. Every difficult conversation, every presentation, every challenge, every rejection, every uncomfortable moment you survive becomes evidence that you're stronger than you thought. Confidence grows every time you prove to yourself that discomfort won't destroy you. So far, we've discovered that unshakable confidence isn't built through pretending. It's built through self-trust, through keeping promises, through letting go of constant approval, through improving your inner dialogue, and through repeatedly choosing growth over comfort. But the next lessons reveal something even more powerful, because they explain why some people remain confident even after failure, even after rejection, even after life doesn't go according to plan. And that's where real confidence separates itself from fake confidence. Number 5. Confident people don't build their identity on success. One of the biggest mistakes people make is attaching their self-worth to outcomes. They feel confident when they're winning, confident when they're praised, confident when everything goes according to plan. But the moment they fail, everything collapses. Why? Because their confidence was built on results, not character. Think about how fragile that becomes. If confidence only exists when life is going well, then it isn't really confidence. It's comfort. Real confidence survives setbacks, not because confident people enjoy failure, but because they don't allow failure to define them. A business fails. A relationship ends. A goal takes longer than expected. They feel disappointed, but they don't conclude, "I am a failure." They conclude, "That didn't work." And then they keep moving. The difference may sound small, but it changes everything. Because when your identity isn't attached to every outcome, you become far more resilient. Number 6. They stop comparing themselves to everyone else. Comparison quietly destroys confidence, especially in today's world. Everywhere you look, someone appears richer, more attractive, more successful, more talented, more accomplished. If you constantly compare your life to everyone else's highlight reel, you'll never feel enough. The problem is that comparison creates a race that has no finish line. No matter how much you achieve, someone will always appear ahead. Confident people eventually realize something important. The goal isn't to become better than everyone else. The goal is to become better than who you were yesterday. That shift creates freedom, because now your focus moves inward. Your growth, your habits, your progress, your character. And that's where genuine confidence begins. Number 7. They make peace with rejection. Most people fear rejection, not because rejection is painful, but because of what they think it means. They think rejection proves they're not good enough, not attractive enough, not smart enough, not valuable enough. But rejection rarely means any of those things. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's compatibility. Sometimes it's circumstances. Sometimes it's simply life. Confident people understand this. That's why rejection doesn't destroy them. They don't enjoy it, but they don't personalize it. They understand something many people never learn. Being rejected does not reduce your value. It simply means something wasn't the right fit. And once you stop treating rejection as a verdict on your worth, you become far more confident. Number 8. They keep promises to themselves. This may be the most important lesson in the entire video. Imagine two people. The first constantly sets goals. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to stop procrastinating. But every promise is broken within a few days. Now imagine the second person. They make fewer promises, but they keep them, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Over time, something powerful happens. They begin trusting themselves. And self-trust creates confidence. Think about it. How can you feel confident in yourself if you don't believe your own word? Every promise kept becomes evidence. Evidence that you're disciplined. Evidence that you're capable. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. And confidence grows from that evidence. Not from motivational speeches. Not from affirmations. Not from pretending. But from keeping commitments when nobody is watching. The truth about people who look confident. Here's something many people never realize. The people who appear the most confident often feel fear too. They feel uncertainty, doubt, anxiety, nervousness. The difference isn't the absence of fear. The difference is action. They don't wait to feel fearless before moving forward. They move forward despite fear. Most people think confidence comes first, then action. Confident people understand the opposite. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Every time you do something difficult, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't control you. And that's where confidence is born. What unbreakable confidence really looks like. Unshakable confidence isn't loud. It doesn't constantly announce itself. It doesn't need to dominate every conversation. It doesn't need to prove anything. In fact, the strongest confidence often looks surprisingly ordinary. It's the man who stays calm during criticism, the woman who continues trying after failure, the person who admits when they're wrong, the leader who doesn't panic under pressure, the individual who remains true to their values, even when nobody is watching. That's confidence, not arrogance, not ego, not performance, just quiet certainty. By now, you can probably see that confidence has very little to do with personality. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build through discipline, through self-respect, through keeping promises, through facing fear, through refusing to let failure define you. But there's one final lesson that ties everything together. Because the greatest source of confidence isn't success. It isn't money. It isn't status. And it isn't praise. It's something far deeper. And once you understand it, your confidence stops depending on the outside world altogether. The greatest source of confidence. If someone asked you, what makes a person truly confident? What would you say? Money? Success? Popularity? Good looks? For many years, that's what people believed. But life has a funny way of proving otherwise. You've probably met successful people who constantly seek validation. People with money, who still feel insecure. People admired by thousands, who secretly fear being judged. Clearly, external success isn't enough. So what is? The greatest source of confidence is integrity, living in a way that allows you to respect yourself. Because when you respect yourself, you stop needing everyone else to do it for you. You sleep better. You make decisions with greater clarity. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You stop chasing approval. Not because you've become arrogant, but because you've become authentic. And authenticity creates a kind of confidence that no one can take away. Why quiet confidence is so powerful. There is something fascinating about people who don't constantly talk about themselves. They don't need to remind everyone how successful they are. They don't dominate every conversation. They don't compete for attention. Instead, they listen. They observe. They speak with intention. And when they do speak, people naturally pay attention. Why? Because quiet confidence creates curiosity. It communicates. I have nothing to prove. Many people mistake loudness for confidence. But loudness often comes from insecurity. When someone constantly needs recognition, needs applause, needs to win every argument, they're often trying to convince themselves, more than anyone else. Quiet confidence is different. It doesn't need permission to exist. It simply does. The habits that quietly build confidence. Confidence isn't built in one life-changing moment. It's built through ordinary habits. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing what you started. Speaking honestly. Treating people with respect. Keeping your body healthy. Learning something new. Doing difficult things even when no one is watching. Those habits seem ordinary. But together, they create extraordinary self-respect. And self-respect creates confidence. Think about a building. Nobody notices the foundation. People admire the finished structure. But without a strong foundation, everything eventually collapses. Confidence works the same way. The habits nobody applauds are usually the ones holding everything together. Stop waiting to feel ready. One of the biggest lies people believe is this: I'll do it when I feel more confident. But confidence doesn't arrive before action. Action creates confidence. The entrepreneur doesn't become confident before starting the business. The speaker doesn't become confident before stepping onto the stage. The athlete doesn't become confident before training. They become confident because they keep showing up. Again, and again, and again. Every action sends a message to your mind. I survived. I learned. I grew. That message becomes belief. And belief becomes confidence. If you spend your life waiting to feel ready, you may spend your life waiting. The people you admire most. Think about the people you admire. Not celebrities. Not influencers. Real people. A teacher who changed your life. A mentor. A parent. A coach. A friend. What made them memorable? It probably wasn't because they were perfect. It was because they were consistent, calm, reliable, honest, disciplined. They showed up, even when life became difficult. That consistency built trust, not only in other people, but within themselves. That's why they seemed so confident. Their confidence wasn't based on pretending. It was based on years of becoming someone they could rely on. A question that changes everything. Instead of asking yourself, how can I become more confident? Ask a different question. What kind of person do I need to become? Because confidence isn't really the goal. Character is. Confidence is simply what character looks like over time. The more disciplined you become, the more honest you become, the more responsibility you accept, the more your confidence grows naturally. Not because you're trying to appear impressive, but because you've become trustworthy, especially to yourself. Final message. If there's one thing to remember from this video, it's this. Unshakable confidence is never given. It's earned, not through perfection, not through praise, not through success, but through repeated acts of courage. Every promise you keep to yourself, every uncomfortable conversation you face, every fear you refuse to run from, every setback you learn from, every disciplined decision becomes another brick in the foundation of your confidence. Eventually, you stop needing the world to tell you who you are, because you already know. And that's the kind of confidence people notice immediately. Not because it's loud, but because it's real. The strongest people in the room are rarely the ones demanding attention. They're usually the ones who have nothing left to prove. Because real confidence isn't about convincing the world you're enough. It's about knowing you are, even when nobody is watching. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.